What's up, guys? What's going on? I'm Paul. This is Pauline Theology's Daily Devotional, and we're going through the book of Exodus. We're in Exodus chapter 7, verse 26. Exodus chapter 7, verse 26. So if you haven't read it yet, stop the tape, check it out, see what it has to say, come back, and we're going to answer some questions to help us understand the scriptures more, because that's what we're here to do. We are here to understand Jesus, understand who Yahweh is, know him more intimately, so that way we can trust him. And the best way to trust someone is to get to know them. And so we're reading through the scriptures to get to know Yahweh. So again, if you haven't checked it out, check it out. Now let's answer some questions if you have checked it out, man. What's going on? That's the first question we always ask in regards to the scriptures. What's happening? Well, in the last episode, we talked about how it said 7 days had passed. And so the relenting of the Nile turning to blood has occurred. We find that there is grace in God's punishment and judgment. And so even when things are rough and tough and we're turning our hearts and our minds against him, that God is always giving a way that we can come to him. He's always opening up a door, showing his power, his love, and his grace to these people. And we're going to see that again. We're going to see that again. And so after that happens, it occurs that God speaks with Moses again. And he tells him to do something specific. He said, go and meet with Pharaoh. Go talk to him and tell him, hey, let my people go. This is the thing that we always hear. Let my people go. And so God tells Moses, Yahweh tells Moses to go and say these words to him. Let my people go. And then he gives a reason that he desires for this to happen. And he says, so that they may worship me. So they may worship me. Now, in the Hebrew, it's actually the word for worship is the same word for serve, as ya avdeni, ya avdeni. And so you have to forgive me. I haven't spoken these words out loud in a while. I'll just read them. But yes, avdeni. Actually, it's va-avdeni. And the Evid is a word for serve, servant, even slave. But in some contexts, it could be known or seen as worship. We see this in Joshua too, when he says, who you will serve, choose this day, or who you will worship this day. And he's done it earlier, and I think I may have talked about this in previous parts of Exodus. But I want to make this clear, because when Moses is speaking with Pharaoh about this, you can see the play or the relationship between the words, because as the Hebrew people, the Israelite people, are serving Pharaoh, he's saying that he wants them to serve him. Yahweh wants the people of Israel to serve him and no longer Pharaoh. And so this request that Moses has given, or this demand that Yahweh has stated, is pretty sinister. Is pretty tough. It's pretty harsh. He's saying they're no longer going to be your servants; they're going to be my servants. And this is comparable also in the sense that Pharaoh believes that he is God. He believes that he is a deity, and so he's saying they are no longer people to worship you, but they are people to worship me. He's calling his people to himself. That's what Yahweh is doing. He's calling his people to himself, and he's going up against the big baddie to do it. Yahweh ain't afraid of whatever is standing in the way of his worship. Yahweh is not afraid of anything that is standing in the way of his people worshiping him, of his people serving him. He's getting down. He's down. He's down with it. So what does this say about God? Well, God will get us through it. I think that's one thing is sometimes we're afraid, or we're worried, or we're unsure as to how we will be able to serve God, how we will be able to worship him because of the people around. I think the parable speaks about seeds being thrown. Jesus says, seeds are thrown on this ground and one is choked up by the scariness or the weight of the world. But we have to remember that God, Yahweh, is going to stand up for us. If we desire to serve him, if we long to seek his face, he gonna make things get done. He gonna take care of those obstacles that are standing in the way. That's who God is. That is who God is. What's this say about us? I think that as mankind in general, that we should be serving the one true God. This is, in the end, why God is doing all of these wonders, why he's striking Egypt with all of these strikes or plagues. That's why he is doing all of these deeds and then having them written down for us to read and for those who were present to see and experience. It is for the wonder and the glory of his name, so that we might serve him. You see, God is an awesome God in such a way that he doesn't even have to, prove himself, because he is already worthy of worship. But see, God, Yahweh, what he does is that he shows himself worthy, proves himself worthy, so that it is undeniable that he is great and that he is worthy of worship. And so this is our calling, is to serve him, to move from whatever it is or whoever it is or however it is that we are placing things on the throne of our lives, whether it be self, which we talked about in the last episode, self, whatever it is, we need to be placing Yahweh, serving Yahweh, worshiping Yahweh. So how do we apply these truths to our lives? What's standing in the way? What's the big baddie? Who's Pharaoh in your life that Yahweh has come to say, let him go so that he may serve me? Because you got to let God stand up and do his thing, because he will. He is powerful, overwhelmingly strong, and he loves us. This is the reason for what he is doing this for. It's his greatness, his great name, but his amazing, beautiful, lavish love. I appreciate you guys for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.